on winnfm. Get ready for an hour of real talk that will keep you engaged and informed, bringing you insights, the hottest topics of the moment, and perspectives that matter from the runway to the political arena. Real Talk with Lavi covers it all. Let's get real. Wednesday nights at 8 on winnfm. It is 5 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. A pleasant good evening to you, St. Kitts and Nevis. A pleasant good evening to you wherever you are listening to the beautiful sounds of Lavi Gumbs right here on the Real Talk with Lavi. I just want to let everyone know that I am feeling wonderful. Yeah, I had to get a pat in. I am feeling wonderful. Today I had a very, very good day, productive day, a long day. I got up this morning and I got to do my little exercise. You know, we got to try and put it in sometime. A lot of people are run from the sun, but I had to get on out there. I said, you know, I didn't do it early in the morning, so I was able to go on out. And I just want to encourage people out there that are looking for ways to exercise. I know you have your vehicle. I know sometimes it's tedious with your jobs. You don't have the time. You probably have children or whatever it is that is occupying your time, work, you know. You got to take some time within the 24 hours. Yeah, 24 hours in a day. And if you look at it, almost every time you ask somebody, man, I'm busy. But you got to take some time out and make that time for yourself. So today, I use my exercise by going down to Hosford, and I walk down to Hosford. Yeah, building material. And the day before, I walk all the way over to Builder's Paradise. Yeah, and I got what I had done. I did my walk, and I must say, thank you for those motorists that was, driving on the road and stopped to let me pass while I'm walking. You know, it have some days where people are speeding, they see you walking, and they don't even have any road courtesy or awareness, and they're just full speed going about their business. Even people that security guards. Yeah, I see the uniform, security guards. And it's men. You would think that men will know. You see a woman, somebody in the street, stop. People just stop and let people pass. They're also full speed. We have rights. Pedestrians have rights on the road just as motorists, Yeah. But I have to say, to all of those persons out there that, paying attention to people that are walking on the street, even the animals, you see a dog, a cat, whatever it is, a bird, people don't knock them down, you know. Yeah, they're living just like anybody else there and trying to survive. So find a way, find ways, yeah, yeah, find ways to basically, yeah, just observe what is happening and be aware of persons that you're seeing on the roads. The road ain't just for motorists. You hear me? Yes, I just got to say thank you to all those persons that when they see Lavi and other persons on the road, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you very much for just, stopping because there are times I don't take charge. Yeah, I don't take charge and go and do what and flag them down to tell them, hey, stop, I want to pass. Because when you see all these people that basically are driving and you're standing up and you're on your trail walking and you mean to tell me that nobody can stop? Well, I love you gums. I go right in the road, put out my hand and like, stop. Yeah, man. I'd be the little officer on the road to get my way over. But I try to be smart about it, eh? Because you can't just go on and just appear in the road. You give them enough time, you gave them enough time, and yeah, the persons are seeing what's happening and slowing down. I also want to big up all those persons. Listen, I don't know if it's popular, people just like Lavi, or, maybe I touch some people's lives. Everywhere you go, Lavi, Lavi, Lavi. Listen, it's a warm feeling when you know that your local people, because a lot of people tends to dwell on the negative. I've never really realized, or never realized maybe because it's social media, people literally taking time out on a regular basis, adults, petitions, go on social media and they're writing a whole long paragraph and the paragraph is about other people. I never realized there's so much insecurities or whatever it is, lack of self-esteem or lack of validation, whatever people are looking for, to just be on social media writing about what people doing when they're supposed to be focusing on their own dreams, focusing on who is in their space. Because why am I going to get up every single day and go on Facebook or TikTok and complain about other people's lives and how your life's not together? Then these are the people that they're saying is our influencers, eh? So you got to be very careful of who you are making your role models and influencers. Got to be able to influence yourself. But again, it's a pleasure being back. It's a beautiful Wednesday. The atmosphere is very, very good. Tonight's topic, we are going to be talking a little bit about alopecia. So the topic tonight basically is on hair loss, hair care, and this goes out to men and women. So if you're a gentleman out there, boy, girl, mom, dad, wherever you are, this topic is for you. It's not just for female. Because hair is here, right? Yeah, and even the men. So the men going around, grooming the hair, the grooming the locks, the grooming the braids. And we are also seeing a lot of men that are losing the hair very, very early. And you would think that a lot of people just focusing on the women, but it's also men. Something you got to be curious when you see men wear the hat all the time and not take off his hat. Sometimes things going on under there, and it's not everybody, are ready for a bald head, especially at a young age. And of course, you have stress. You have things that the people are eating today. The products, it's so many things. Some people say genetics or hereditary. But I am here today as a professional cosmetologist to basically educate you and bring some awareness on hair loss that can lead to a medical term, which is alopecia, right? So alopecia is basically the medical term for hair loss. And tonight, if you're out there listening, the number to call is 869-466-0989, 718-285-6984, and that's the U.S. line, which is 718-285-6984. Tonight's topic on the Real Talk is alopecia. I am Lavi Gumbs, and I like to tell people I am from the island of St. Kitts and Nevis. So once again, St. Kitts, wherever you are, tune in, share the live. Let's have a conversation when it comes to hair loss. So what are the things that we have been doing over the years? And let us start from a baby, come right up, especially when it comes to kinky hair, or one would say black hair, but it all boils down. When it comes to hair, we have, when it comes to hair, what do we have, people? I know people say hair is hair, right? So we have different hair. We have coarse hair, we have medium hair. So somebody might have, and they say, man, my hair coarse, right? But coarse also come in different, whether it's straight, wavy, or curly, right? So if you have kinky hair, like my hair, it have different textures, which is fine hair, medium, or coarse hair. So I guess sometimes when people say, oh, my hair thin, but one can have thin hair, but they might have a lot of density. Density is basically the amount of hair that is coming out of the hair follicles, right? Yeah, so sometimes you see some people that have coarse hair, but this hair is still considered to be thin hair. So thin hair doesn't necessarily mean because your hair is fine, you can still have thin hair if your hair is coarse, because it goes from the amount of density. And of course, the healthiness of the hair will come from the porosity. But when it comes to alopecia, so alopecia is the medical term for hair loss. It occurs when the immune system mistakenly attacks hair follicles, the structure that form hair, or when hair growth is disrupted by genetics, hormones, stress, or medication, right? So if persons out there are basically maybe thinking about the hair follicles, well, like everything else, maybe let me see if I can express it the best way so you guys could understand what I'm saying. Like when you have a tree, if you don't water that tree, in any time you see how the leaves just become dry, and then when you water the tree, right, because the tree needs to be hydrated, it's the same thing. When you have beautiful hair, apart from your genetics, beautiful hair also come from how you take care of your hair. So if you hydrate your hair by drinking a lot of water, most people say that water, alkaline water, of course, possible, maybe some lemon, lime, and good old coconut water. Some people also alkaline it with cucumber, Yeah, but you need hydration. Hydrate. And this goes very well when it comes to your face as well, your skin. Hydration. So alopecia can be cured, but depending on the seriousness of the alopecia, right? So you got to be careful that when you start seeing hair loss, people pay attention. Don't just say, I'm losing my hair. It's little signs that it start off very, very small. Like, for instance, the traction alopecia. Like I said, it starts off very, very small before it begins. It's just like if you have cancer, or you have diabetes. You see, sometimes some people have to amputate their toe before they amputate their toes or the part of the leg before the whole leg disappear. So it's good to, basically treat it before it get further. You have a lot of people outside there wearing the wigs, and some of them are wearing the wigs covering up the situation that they have going on. I just got to let people know that tonight's topic, it is hair loss, alopecia. This is a topic that I have introduced in the Virgin Islands with the late Adi Atley and WSTA, and the people in St. Thomas received it very well. I was able to help a lot of elder women that are covering up their hair with these old looking wigs that have them looking all old, afraid to show their scalp because some of them said the husband said that they didn't want no man in the bed with them. But we have to take charge as women and let your husband know that, hey, I'm an individual before I become a husband. I have to take care of my hair. And one needs to basically, if you know you have hair loss and you're covering it up all the time and you don't try to take care of it or seek medical help or go to a competent hairstylist, a competent salon or beauty salon, you have to be careful if you're not making the situation worse because you're not addressing it. And one way to do that is the hair need oxygen. The hair needs to be, to have carbon dioxide. It needs to have sunlight, right? So if you keep on covering up your hair, covering up your front spot, wherever you have your bald spot, covering up in the center, and you don't go to the hair salons, and you just keep on covering it with wigs. Even the men, some men will have dreads, and they probably have some to the front and nothing in the center, so they just continue pulling it back, winding it back, and it looks so cute. They have the hair back in one, but deep down they are hiding something in the center, and as in the crown of the head, and in the head shape. If you can look at the way how I'm putting my hand, you have the head is basically, you have the apex, so the apex is right around here. You go a little further in, you have the crown, and right across here you have the parietal ridge, and right to the back where you have that hard bone. Some people have it really pronounced to the back, some have it a little high. It's called occipital bone. And of course you have the right temporal, the left temporal, and underneath the occipital bone. And every angle in the hair have some dimension. So the part of the hair or the scalp that you will probably be seeing signs of alopecia will be in the crown area, because in there is more of the softer spot. Like I said, just imagine if you have the soil, and that part that is very, very soft, that have too much moisture, then you're not going to have anything that is really growing in there either. So you got to be very careful of that soft spot in your head. When you put in your hair very tight, you're going, every minute you're going to the salon, every style come out, you want to, use your natural hair, you're going to be killing your hair follicles. And when your hair follicles gone, that's it. I want to say a pleasant good evening to Sharon Nisbet. It's a pleasure having you here. Hope you're listening and recognizing what is happening here. If you have a situation going on with your scalp, come to Lavi Gumbs. Yeah, I think I could help you. And this goes out to all men. So traction alopecia is hair loss caused by pulling the hair too tightly into styles like braids or ponytails. And it starts from there. A lot of people will have ponytails, and sometimes they will have all the hairpins, and the hairpin just dig in one spot. And just like anything else, if you knock a spot too hard, over and over and over, what gonna happen? Right? So persons that are out there going with all those nice, beautiful braid styles that look so nice and tight, and then they have the gel and the little, all the stuff to slick down the hair, the edges and all those kind of things. They call it baby hair. People, when you reach 30 and 40, you will be seeing signs of traction alopecia. And that is hair loss, I repeat, hair loss that cause from pulling the hair too tightly into styles like braids and ponytails. So nothing wrong in having the braids Nothing wrong in having your ponytail, but I realize now parents are using the little children, because even the children, they're dragging into these styles. And if what we're seeing in the next couple of years, maybe sometime before the child even reach puberty, the child is experiencing hair loss, kill the follicles, ain't got no hair. And that is very unfortunate and wrong for children to come up and not being able to experience the nice, healthy, luscious hair, all because of styles that are too tightly braids and ponytails, and that is traction alopecia. I want to also let some of the men that goes in the shower, and of course some of them say, oh, I wash me hair every day, man. Every time I go take a shower, I shampoo me hair, I wash me hair. But you got to be very careful of what shampoo you are shampooing your hair with. If the shampoo having sulfate, there's a number of products that has in sulfate, and a lot of them are sold in the beauty supplies and even in the supermarket. So you got to be careful, read the ingredients. I don't know, maybe some people say, man, this hair going to grow back. But there comes a point in time that sometimes the hair do not grow back. And hair do make a very, very big difference when you have nice, healthy hair. I see a lot of people when they become a little older, they don't have no hair. And that is why a lot of people are getting so comfortable with the wigs. But you know, in the Caribbean, it's very hot. And I could see sometime in the US, you know, I mean, it's freezing cold in Canada and England and those places, you know, you want to keep your head warm. But St. Kitts is very, very humid, and we are seeing a lot of people. And of course, one will say, well, it's your choice. Of course, it's your choice. But as a cosmetologist, it is my duty to educate my clients, customers, and anyone while I can. Okay? So it is very important to know that the more hair you have on your hair, on your head, especially if it's not your hair, you got to make sure that you are shampooing your hair with the right shampoos without sulfate. You are conditioning your hair every now and then, probably like twice a month. You're getting a protein treatment, a deep conditioning treatment. You're hydrating your hair. You're moisturizing your hair, and just a small amount. You don't want to be putting too much tacky things in your hair, gel, excessive gel, and all those kind of things. And knowing that you are using the right product. I got to say good evening to Miss Gwyneth Samuel. Good night to you. Let me see what this person is saying. Good night. Does wigs eat away your hairline? What do you recommend to persons who wear wigs? I don't have any proof that wigs eat away your hairline, but I know that sometimes some of the wigs and even braids, depending on the chemicals in these wigs and weaves, sometimes one should wash them. Just like when you go to the store, you wash the clothing, because sometimes the fabric, you don't know how many hands and different things, bacteria that would have been on those things that can be harmful to your scalp. So that's a very good question, Ms. Gwyneth Samuel. But I would say that what eats away your hairline is not necessarily the wigs, but what the wigs does, if you're already getting loss of hair, because the hairline is very fragile, when you put on the wigs, you're actually preventing the hair from getting air, as I said, oxygen, getting sunlight, and the scalp being able to breathe, right? So in other words, if you wear wigs all the time or braids all the time, what's going to happen in particular the wigs, there's no sunlight going to where the hair is being, damaged. That can cause alopecia or traction alopecia. So I would say that if you're a wig lover, you have to practice not to be in the wig 247. You all need to book an appointment and check Sheer Brilliance. That is Sheer, Shear, Brilliance Salon. Go on Instagram, and you can also inbox Lavi. That's Lavi Gumbs. Matter of fact, I just renewed my USA cosmetology license, so I'm actually current up until 2028. It's going to last up to 2 years. I keep abreast of what's going on. I got to say good night to Mr. Dwight Wilkinson. It's a pleasure having you here. And, it's good to know that the men are coming on, because hair loss is not just a woman thing. Hair loss is a male and female pattern baldness. So, yeah, let me give it the dictation with bald. So you have a lot of men feel comfortable. They hear bald and they just shave it off, so they're walking around with bald head. But they ain't just walking away with bald head because they want to be bald head. They're walking away with bald head because they will have had a basically androgenic alopecia, and that is hereditary conditions that cause a receding hairline in men and widening of overall thinning of the part in women also. But a lot of these things are hereditary, yes, but there are also some things, even though they are hereditary, we can do things to stop it. My family, basically, I know my aunt, my uncle, my dad, my grandmother, to a point they call her sugar, they all died from diabetes. Now, do Lavi Gumbs have diabetes? No. And does that mean Lavi Gumbs can't have diabetes? No. I'm just thankful that I haven't gotten it. So what I would have done is basically start researching upon diabetes and stuff like that. The point that I want to make is that if we're just going to say, well, it's old age, well, my family had it and my uncle have it, how about, well, I am going to do all I can to make sure I don't have it, because it's already in my family. Good night to you, Christine Woodley. It's a pleasure just having you guys here tonight. A few people reach out to me and say, Lavi, I think you really need to speak about hair care on your program, because there's a lot of people here need help. There's a lot of hairdressers here probably don't want to speak about it, and some of them probably are not educated enough in that field to be speaking about it. Sometimes it's afraid to talk about it. But yeah, hairdressers, if you consider yourself a hairdresser, you need to continue education and understand these things. So when your customers come to you, to educate them, and not just because somebody coming to you, when you come to Lavi, you're coming to Lavi, not just for results, but when you come to Lavi, wow, it's how you feel, even the whole atmosphere, You get them inside here, they have a different outlook, a different approach. You make people go out and feel better about themselves. So we're going to continue this conversation right here on The Real Talk and winnfm 98.9, and every Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. I'm a licensed and certified cosmetologist. I taught in some of the top schools in America. Paul Mitchell School, I was a teacher there, and I also taught at the Hollywood Institution over there in Hollywood Boulevard in Miami. Well, it's actually the borderline 441, so Miami and Broward, Dade and Broward County. So I'm not just coming here because I want to be like or looking for some kind of like. I just want to be able to share about my knowledge, and just happy to know that I am a beautician. You know how good I feel? When we see these kind of things, always some foreigner coming in, Talawi, as if we don't know how to do these things, but a lot of us are paying our attention to the wrong things. And we come in here and we just always talking about other people, what they're doing, what they ain't doing, just complaining, blaming. How about use our knowledge and share back, give back to our federation. Let's be leaders, right? Again, If you're listening to my voice and you're wearing wigs, I don't care how young you are or how old you are, it is time to take those wigs off if you're suffering from hair loss. And even if you're not suffering from hair loss, visit a competent salon, a competent hairstylist that can basically detox your hair properly. So when you go out, your whole scalp clean, you don't have any buildup residue on your scalp. All those, when some people, because we're from the Caribbean, and we like to say, man, my hair don't grow, the dirty, the more dirt it is, the hair grow, the dandruff. I don't know where we get that kind of full thing, that dandruff and all them kind of things grow here. The scalp supposed to be clean. Because what is going to happen eventually in time, over time, the buildup of dandruff, it causes crust and psoriasis and all kind of different complications. And then you have to live in the doctor's office and basically using whatever prescription from the doctor, and some of those medicated products that the doctor will give you guys. And all other things have side effects. So some of those kind of things dry out your hair scalp. You don't have any hydration. So what's going to happen? Your hair going to just feel dry and brittle, hard, because all the hydration is basically, nothing is there, right? So in order to prevent that, if you're a man out there, I know some men have no choice. Some of them sweat a lot depending on their jobs, especially those in construction, mechanics, even police officers, security officers, they wear a hat and they will be sweating in their hat. One of the recommendations is to try and maybe get a piece of napkin, something that can put inside of the hat if you have to be wearing hats all the time. Ladies, that goes out to you as well. And, anything that could protect your scalp and your face, right? So it's all about holistic care with Lavi Gumbs and the Real Talk. Share the live as we continue sharing knowledge right here on Real Talk with Lavi. Once again, the number to call is 466-0989. And that's the local number. And the U.S. line is 718-285-6984. I want to say good evening to Mr. Austin Buchanan, a.k.a. Squidly. Good night. What's up? Yeah, good night to you. So tonight's topic is hair loss, and the medical term for hair loss is alopecia. And this is something for both male and female. And basically, if you don't understand what alopecia is, we're talking about baldness, being bald before your time, right? Literally being bald. And some men basically bald in the front, and then around the parietal ridge, you see they have the hair from here. And one of the reasons why around the parietal ridge will have hair, because that's the hardest part. The parietal ridge and the occipital bone, it goes in the same area. It lines in the same area. And not really in the same area, but it goes together in the head. So that's where the hard bone on top of your head. If you take off all your hair and you feel your scalp right now. So if you're listening to me right now, and if you're listening to me, or if you're looking at me right now, so your head is like a round circle, right? So to the side of your head, right on top, it's in line of your eyebrows, that bone right in the middle part of your eyebrows. Come right here, go across, just call the parietal ridge, and you take it all the way to the back of your head, and that is occipital bone. So most of the time, that is where you will have your hair. So places that you will likely to lose your hair is in the softer part, which is in the crown area, the crown area is actually in the middle, right? So the whole front part is where you would basically be receding your hair, and right in the middle of your back in the middle of your neckline. Right in there also is like the softer part. So if you notice the back of your hair on the right and on the left side, you will see right there will have hair most of the time because those are the hardest parts in the hair, in the scalp. Another part that you will likely to lose your hair is around your hairlines, and especially persons that are wearing glasses on a regular basis. So you'll see around like your temple area because those are the sensitive parts of your hair, and around the apex, right? So around your apex, your crown, the right underneath your occipital bone where you have the softest part again, your right temple, and your right temporal. Those are the places that you're likely to have hair loss. This is why a lot of people walking around, if they don't cut the hair, right around here, you see them have the hair. And even when they bald off the hair, you see where it's actually clean. Alopecia. Yeah. Basically, in the crown of the hair, most of them don't have any hair in there. Men that carrying locks, you're winding them here because everything is salon dreads right now, and every time you look cute and you wind up your hair and you take your beautiful long locks and you keep on winding and you're winding and you're winding. What do you think gonna happen after a while? You wind out the hair, you wind out your hair follicles. So the outer layer of your hair, which is the cuticle, the outer layer of your hair is the top of your hair, your scalp. That is the cuticle, right? So that's the outer layer. But what one needs to know that whatever we do, you have a birth. You come from a birthplace. So the hair, the birth of the hair actually is down all the way down by the medulla, and that is where you have the hair follicles. And that hair follicle, from the outer layer, you go to the inner layer. So the inner layer is the cortex. And when you go to the inner layer of your hair, that is why it's very important to have your hair have a deep conditioning, hydrating conditioning treatment or a protein conditioning treatment. Those are two keys, very important for healthy hair. And of course, the scissors. The scissors is very important. And let me give you guys an example. If you have a tree and the tree is dying, anybody ever see the tree and the tree dying and they say, boy, my good tree gone. But if you go and you just clip off those leaves, even the mango tree, the papaya tree, any kind of tree, the tea bush trees, they won't care just like anybody else. When you see no rain come, what's going to happen? You clip off the green leaves. You clip and you clip. And you clip and something, you clip and you clip all the way down to the root. And you leave that root. But if you start again to hydrate and pay attention and nurture that plant, you will see that it spring back up and you can't believe it. That's the tree that cut down and the tree does have life again. So it's how you take care of yourselves and your surroundings. You can have a healthy life, right? It's the same thing for your hair. All right, so we talk about the traction alopecia, right? And I also want to let you guys know that temporary hair shredding, often triggered by severe physical or emotional stress, illness, or rapid weight loss. So that is tolerant, okay? So the tolerant, that basically, that is person that are suffering with temporarily hair shredding. So if you heard what they said, temporarily. So sometimes you can have temporary hair shredding, but you got to pay attention again, because if something is temporary and you hear just a shed, and you're not going to the doctor, let me tell you, before you go to the doctor, you go to a cosmetologist, someone that studied the hair, face, skin. That cosmetologist will know, well, if it's something that is medical, then they will put you on to a dermatologist. And the same thing with the dermatologist, if it's something beyond their control, then they will send you to a medical doctor. All right, so we go hand in hand in this thing when it comes to the study of the hair, skin, face. Someone is saying, my hair is white and I am not ready to embrace the white as yet. I get it relaxed and rinse in 2 weeks after I am gray again. So I am back to square one. What should I do? What caused the hair to turn white or gray? Well, listen, I love this. I love this contributor, Gwyneth Samuel. Keep it coming, Gwyneth. Very good question again. She said, what makes the hair gray? Well, first of all, gray hair is something called carnite, right? So if anybody there, you can look up for the word carnite, right? And carnite, basically, gray hair is basically dead hair, right? So gray hair, when your hair becomes gray, believe it or not, it is considered dead hair. Just like how you have long locks, it's dead hair. Even though they look nice and everything, but if you have the locks and you open them and you try to use those hair, you will realize it's not going to last long. Those hair just going to strip and it's going to strip. So here, canites basically are canites, right? They basically can come from hereditary. I've seen a baby that actually born with gray hair. So those can be hereditary as well. And you see persons that are like 9, 10, between their adolescent, they actually have gray hair. And you see person under 30 to 40 already grays. So when it comes to what causes gray hair, of course, old age has a lot to do with it, but some of it is hereditary. So gray hair is actually a different texture of the hair. It's a bit more coarser, and it is the medical term for gray hair is canites, right? I call it canites, but it's canites. That's canities. And it is actually occurs when the hair follicles stop producing melanin, the pigment that gives hair its color. All right? So, Miss Gwyneth, that is one of the things that causes gray hair is when the hair follicles stop producing melanin, right? And if, as I said, it's dead hair. So, and then once a hair follicle ceases the melanin production, the hair grows in naturally colorless or white, gray, and it looks simple like an optical illusion created by white hairs mixing with pigments. Okay? So that is how you get gray hair. Now, gray hair, or one would say, some people call it silver hair. It's also a trend now. I am just like you, Gwyneth. I'm not ready to embrace gray hair. You see a little bit of gray is coming around. You see them? Yeah, you see a little bit. But sometimes I don't feel like I want to dye my hair. Just every time I see a little gray hair, sometimes I don't mind a little bit. But I know when it's time to, go back and take care of these bad boys, because I ain't ready for no gray yet either. So those that are ready for the gray hair, congratulations to you. And it's all about how people feel about themselves. I know the day will come when I'm actually going to be embracing the gray hair. And I can tell you, whenever I decide to do something, I'm going to embrace it very well. So, Miss Gwyneth, when you relaxed your hair and 2 weeks after you're seeing the gray hair, that's a very good question. Believe it or not, the hair grows every single day. And the minimum of hair growth is actually an inch, right? So an inch is probably like one of the little joint in your finger. That's an inch. Some people might only see a pinch, a quarter, a half an inch, and some would probably see a maximum of 2 inches or more per month. But the minimum growth is an inch. So just imagine if the hair is goes an inch minimum. You're looking at every single day you wake up, you're producing hair. And this is why you're likely to see that the hair is when, in 2 weeks' time, you're actually seeing the grays already because your hair is growing up. So it is actually showing, your natural base, right? So that's your base of your hair. So that's your natural hair color, right? Not up here. You're looking at the natural hair that is producing. And some people are not gray all over. So I'm not gray all over as yet. Hopefully, maybe when I get it gray all over, then I'll be ready to, wrap my little white hair, my canities, and feel proud with it. Okay? I hope I answer your question. But again, so when it comes to gray hair, another thing, sometimes it can be an underlying condition as well, such as immune or thyroid disorder. Thyroid ain't to play with the people, yeah. So we got to try as much as possible to not just yourself. There's so many things to focus on besides that, right? I see Miss Gwyneth. Yes, she's keeping it coming in. Thank you so much for this. She said, Lavi, what do you say to all these men who are in their 70s and 80s, but their hair black like tar? When the sun hot, all the dye running out them down their faces. I didn't want to laugh, right? Okay. If you just in tune, this is 8:50. This is Real Talk with Lavi. I want to take my time and read this again without laughing because it sounds hilarious, but this is valid questions. These are Real Talk with Lavi. And she's saying, what do you say to all these men who are in their 70s and 80s, but their hair black like tar, when the sun hot, all the dye running down their faces? And it's true. What I would say to this, right? A lot of men, not just in the 70s and 80s, right? But a lot of them are going in the supermarket and you will see like the quick products that they have on the shelf that you just shampoo in. And a lot of the men are doing that. And some of them are actually buying, they have some things like a penciling where they rub it on the head. Some of them they get bright and they rub it on the bald spot itself and walk around and think that is cool, right? But what I would say to men out there that are facing this challenge and are actually doing this kind of thing by dyeing their hair themselves, I think that it is time that they visit Lavi. Visit a competent hairstyles and get some education, even if you have to pay for the consultation, a crash little short, Dwight Wilkinson, you're listening to me? Yeah, come to Lavi Gumbs. Come and get, just like when you go to the doctor, because women are attracted to men that takes care of themselves and basically have that sex appeal, and it comes from sex appeal come from your appearance as to how you look, how you smell, So the older men, I would want to basically tell you that this is a time to start, save a little pennies and go to the salon. All right? Go to a competent salon because it's not cute walking around, especially in the hot sun, and these things are running down, I've seen a lot of men that have bald head, like I said, they literally put in the dye and look like they don't even wash it out. I don't know what they do, but all these only making matters worse because it's actually going into your bloodstreams. Remember the cuticles, once those cuticles are open, because once you put chemicals like relaxers, it changes your pH level of your hair. Your hair pH level is 4.5 or 4.0 to 5.5. So once you start putting in relaxers, texturizers, dyes, you're raising your pH level up to 5.10, 5.11, 5.12, 5.14. And when you raise your hair pH level that high, what is happening? Your cuticle is going to be wide open. Now it needs to close back. And when your cuticle closes back, it's going to close back with all those things trapped inside. So it's gone down to your inner layer, gone down to your hair follicles, right? And there's no hydration down there with that. And that is why it's very, very important if you want to look healthy, look and feel great about yourself, it starts from your head to your toe, or from your feet to your head. Yeah. And it is time that men look at hair not just a thing because you could just ball off your hair. Even when you ball off your hair, believe it or not, your scalp needs to be hydrated. I've seen men, I'm in the field, I'm in the profession, and I've seen a lot of men, even men that are walking around with a lot of beards in their face. But that would be another topic to talk about. There's a lot of men walking around with a lot of beards in their face, and they do not use beard balm, beard moisturizer to make sure that you're moisturizing your beards, because hair is hair. It needs to be moisturized. That is why sometimes you see men scratching because hair can itch. And underneath the skin, it traps the sweat, it traps the dirt, and it goes to the men's skin. And if they have to shave off all those beards, they will see how their face have all kind of nasty things trapped on top of their skin, because a lot of men, they're just walking around and they think it's a style. And I'm speaking about men of all ages, young men that are out there, middle-aged men, feel like this is a new trend. They ain't gonna hear up top, so they goes to the one down below, and the beards needs to be hydrated as well. It needs to be hydrated, and it is time that we really continue to have these kind of talks. So I am going to see how I can in my little time, and we'll talk with Lavi, bring some wellness here, and see if we can actually help bring back our confidence and self-esteem in holistic care and wellness on the Real Talk with Lavi. I am a licensed, certified board of cosmetology out of Florida, the state of Florida, and also in Georgia, in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, and in North Carolina. Those places I am certified, and in order to be certified, it's not just going to a hair schools, but it's to continue having your continued education and going to a lot of training in the field to understand your craft, to understand your clients, to understand the products, to understand the equipment, and to be connected with all the products and the equipment, to know what you need to stay in the game and keep abreast of what is happening in your field. Just like doctors, lawyers, they have to do the refresh, and if they're not doing the refresh, people start making sure that when you go into these doctors and to these lawyers, to these barbers, hairdressers, electricians, technicians, whatever field you're in, make sure that they're educating themselves. Yeah, it is very good to be in the game, right? Stress, stress basically like triggered by smoke or chronic stress. Those are things that also cause hair loss. And like I said, all of it, Hair loss is alopecia. If the hair ain't growing back, it means that you kill your hair follicles. Um, and if you notice, even cancer patients, when they're going through chemotherapy, they loses all the hair. But although they loses all the hair, most of the time, the hair follicles is still there. It's still producing here. In time, once the medication wears off, you will see all of the hair just spring back, and it comes back in a very, very curly, like it start back from the baby, because it's hair that is being rebirthed, and it start back very, very soft. And a lot of cancer patients, they come and they're like, they're showing off with the hair. They got some nice baby hair, like they just born like a baby, and they love the hair. But it's only a matter of time, because if you wasn't born in your dreams with that type of hair, it's only a matter of time you're going to go right back to your natural hair. But the beautiful thing about it, even those that are under the chemotherapy, eventually the hair grows back. I want to say good evening to Miss Carmen Liebert down there in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. It's always a pleasure to see you here and in tune in what is happening here in our beautiful island, St. Kitts and Nevis. I gotta also say good evening to Mr. Leonard Paul. And Leonard, he's up there in Upper Monk Hill, St. Peter's. I do look at his life, and when he comes with his lives, he too is in connection with his roots, and he's authentic, and he share his yaba pattern and those kind of things. I enjoy his videos when he, put it out there and bring it to us so we can see what he's doing. I got to say good evening to Miss Stephanie Elliott and a number of persons that would have been down here in St. Kitts that traveled all the way for the music festival. Some of them will have been out of St. Kitts for a long time. And through music festival and, some of those holidays, we have the August weekend is coming up, so for Culture Armor, it's going to bring back a lot of different people back home. So we encourage person to take the time out and use these holidays and come back home to your roots. Christmas, plan for your, when you leave St. Kitts, whatever it is, if you can. You come back home to our roots, come look for where part you come from. Otherwise, other people come from wherever they come from, and they're going to take up your space in your birth of land, in your land of birth. So tonight, I hope that you was able to enjoy this short program. The topic was basically hair loss. We were speaking about alopecia, and I see Miss Gwyneth Samuel. She will have been asked a few questions. I hope I answered some of her questions, and I always tell people I don't know everything, but whenever I do come here to talk, I try to be prepared and sometimes not just being rehearsed, but at least have some kind of knowledge in it. And I just feel proud to know that over the years, I have been in this profession for now over 38 years. And I can tell you guys, when I went to school, I basically, and I want to share this because it's going to be very good for the young people out there. When I went to cosmetology school back in 1988, I graduated in I went in 1987, graduated in 1988. And when I graduated, I could tell you this much. People, I basically, I did well. I was one of the top students, if not the top. And I got the honor roll for and I say everything in cosmetology, I got the honor roll, especially in the skill part, the hands-on part, right? The theoretical part, I'm going to tell you this. I basically memorize everything just to pass. But when it comes to the skill part, that was where my gift, my talent came, and I execute that. But the reason why I'm saying this, persons out there interested in learning cosmetology or any kind of trade, barber, the beauty industry, esthetician, massage therapist, manicurist, pedicurist, I want to let you guys know that it is very well good to just go and want to just go to the school or go to work with somebody just to get that certification. But it's important to continue your education because, like I said, when I went, I was very young. I was in my teens. And all I did, I went there to get my certification. And I also went and I memorized all I memorized to pass to get my certification. What I want to let you guys know, because of continued education now, I am so proud that ain't no more memorized with me. I can look back and I understand every single thing. And anyone comes to me and wants a haircut, they want to hair color, they want to hair relax, anything to do with hair care, even skin and the face. I and proudly say that I understand the assignment. It's no more memorized. I went to school, I continue educating myself, and now I understand that the importance of memorizing and just going on with a certification is not enough. It is very good to know that when your customer come to you, you can not just give them customer service, but a whole complete customer service is when you can educate your clients. They will walk out and basically feel better about themselves and look at you in a different light and feel confident of the person that they was going to, because it's all boiled down to trust. And I think this is how we're going to end tonight on the Real Talk with Lavi. It's 4 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock. I hope tonight was very an education, learning for you guys, and being able to learn and understand the importance of healthy hair. And the importance of healthy hair would start from yourself by eating properly, hydrating, and also connecting with a competent hairstylist and a competent salon. And yeah, this is how I'm going to continue next week. Same time, same place. And I just want to thank each and everyone who has come on this live tonight and share your just share some of the things that you'll have been going through. I want to thank again Miss Gwyneth Samuel. Thank you so much for your contribution here. And I like I said, I can relate to you when you said that you're not ready for your gray hair. Nothing wrong with that, you know. I mean, when we look at some of those other race and the light skin race, and you see them with the blonde hair and the red hair and all kind of things, you think they don't have gray hair? It's gray hair they got, but they use the dyes. And that is why I have issues when black schools are basically putting out rules that can hurt black, because other persons, the same rules that they're putting out on the black, it doesn't mean because those persons are lighter, that is their hair. A lot of them, and I can tell you because I do all hair types, I can tell you that a lot of the times those people are not blonde and they put it in the dyes just like anybody else. I also gonna get some times to speak on relaxing the hair. Nothing wrong with relaxing the hair, but one has to understand when it comes to relaxing the hair. Some people, they don't want to pay the prices in the salon, and some people are not satisfied with some of the hairdressers, so they go and they do it themselves. But one has to be very careful that they're not over processing the hair. And when it comes to Sheer Brilliance Salon by Lavi Gumbs, I am 100% into hair care. 100%. So the things that I did back in 1988, in the 90s, in the 2000s, way back when, no. You got to move with time. This is 2026, and when it comes to healthy hair, you have to be able to protect the hair. So if you basically just in tune and you're looking for a competent hairstylist, I am Lavi Gumbs, and you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on social media, and I basically like to deal with word of mouth. Think it is small, and a lot of people are on top of the internet. And I believe that when a customer come, the best thing for you to do is to get, is to see someone referral, right? When somebody refer to you, I say, who do you hear? You let your hair speak for itself. So when I do my work, it speaks for itself. And people are going to ask you, you're going to feel better about yourself. They're going to see you, boy, look, I should drop 10 years, boy. But I should look younger, I should look sexy. This is why I'm encouraging a lot of women, in particular, especially the older women, young women too, because a lot of young women from age 30 to 40, I could tell you this much. If you one by one line them up and tell them take off the wig, they're not gonna hear. They do not have, they ball. They don't have no hairline. And because they come here with the 360 wigs now, where they could put the wig from here, go all up, and they look like Chinese and the other races. Let me tell you this here. A lot of those women are suffering from insecurities. And a lot of men, black men, you guys are to blame too, because there's a lot of black men out there. Some men tell me, girl, I don't like women with no natural hair. We don't have your hair them long. So a lot of women, black women, a lot of poisonous bad. They basically are doing these things for these men, trying to fit in the other race, because one will say that the hair is easier to comb and they get comfortable because it's easy. But you know how many compliments I get for my skin? I've never bleached in my life. I've never put on nothing to make my face look different. And the amount of compliments that I get it from a lot of the races where people will see me even on the airlines, when I'm traveling on the plane, at the airport, or any place that you can be in the space of a large crowd of diversity. I get a lot of compliments when my hair long, when it's short, and they admire my hair. And I think it is time. I can't tell people what to do, but I can also help people to feel a little more relaxed, comfortable, and feel better in their hair, face, and skin. Take off the weave. Take off the braids. Take off the wig. Give it some time. Give it a little break. And in order to do that, I want to help a lot of you guys by setting a personalized appointment, because, you don't expect to just throw people in a salon that is open to the public. People want a personalized space because we don't know what people are dealing with. And it is time that we do have a salon that is ready, and a competent stylist, someone that you can trust and know that when you goes there, your business ain't back out for people to know, well, this person not gonna hear in the head and this person know this. But I also want to let people know that you're not alone. And it can come back, because I have worked on a number of persons in St. Kitts, in the Virgin Islands, in America. I have worked with a number of people in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, that are hearing my voice now. They say, Lavi, I miss you. Because of you, I can wear my hair. Because of you, I can show my bald head. And my hair growing. Or even if it ain't growing, the rest that was there is growing. So, someone is saying, thank you for the free consultation. Glad that I tune in. Oh, thank you, and you're welcome. But again, it is 12 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock, and this is how Lavi Gumbs is going to say good night. Thank you once again for being here. Next week, same time, same place, as we continue the talk on the hair, skin, face with Lavi Gumbs, a professional, certified, licensed cosmetologist, and more. Good night.